All right, welcome back to the Elias Makos Show. Our pleasure to welcome back into our studios Étienne Fortin-Gauthier. He's a video journalist for Noovo Info. And, of course, he's behind the terrific series Entre, Lignes, which you can watch on Crave. They're up to episode 5 now. Latest edition, latest episode, Étienne, what's it called?
It's The Border That Kills.
The Border That Kills. And you're talking about the border just south of us, the Quebec-U.S. border. And you went along with the RCMP teams,
yes,
as they patrol that border. What'd you find?
It's a very rare opportunity to be able to patrol with them and even follow them through their daily lives. We even had the chance to follow them when they had to do a manhunt to find a smuggler and a migrant who tried to cross from the U.S. to Canada. So it was a very intense episode. But for us, the desire was to show what migrants are in what situation the migrants are facing when they try to cross. Because the smugglers tell them it's going to be very easy to cross from the U.S. to Canada, only a few meters. But at the end of the day, they face a very difficult situation. There's water, lakes, there's different situations. It's very cold during the winter. And we saw in the last few months and years, many of these migrants dying in our forests trying to cross. And sometimes with kids, so they have to be saved. And the RCMP, just in the last 2 months, they had to save 40 migrants who tried to come to Canada.
40 people were discovered trying to cross in bad conditions.
Exactly. Sometimes facing with frostbites. Yeah. In some cases, they had to do amputations of their feet, of their arms, because they suffer. They go through these very difficult conditions.
Tell me about the pathway, the smugglers, right? Yeah. So these are people who are in the U.S. Yeah. They don't have legal status, I imagine, in the U.S.
Exactly.
And now they're looking for Canada.
Yeah.
What is the pathway there? Where do these smugglers take them? Take me through that process.
The pathway is fascinating, but I'll start from the beginning.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the case of two guys from Senegal. They left Senegal a few months ago, and then they arrived in Venezuela. And then they went up. They crossed different Latin countries. They crossed the U.S. They stopped in New York City. But their dream was to come to Canada. So they went up, and then at the end of the day, they found these smugglers in Vermont that helped them organize their crossing. Huh. But they died only a few meters from Canada because they were stuck in a snowstorm, and that's what happened. So this is a true story. Two guys from Senegal who died together in the snow. And the smugglers tell them, as I said, it's going to be a very easy crossing, but it's not. It's very difficult. And these smugglers sometimes ask for thousands of dollars. For example, a family recently was asked $27,000.
$27,000?
To cross to Canada. And they were cut by the RCMP. So they lost that money.
But they don't even cross the border, right? They just drive them as close as possible?
Exactly. And they leave them in the forest. And then on the other side in Canada, they have sometimes other smugglers helping them to hide in Canada. Because if you hide in Canada for 2 weeks, there's a loophole. If you hide for 2 weeks after crossing illegally, then you can make a request.
As asylum claim?
Exactly. But if you don't wait for the 2 weeks and you just it's before the 2 weeks, then you're sent back to the U.S.
That's right, because Canada has that safe country agreement with the U.S.
Exactly. So there's that loophole right now that the government of Canada is trying to fill. But in the meantime, we see this situation, and it's encouraging these migrants to cross illegally. So that's why we have hundreds of migrants still crossing from the U.S., including people from Haiti who are afraid to be sent back in the U.S.
Yeah, no, of course. I mean, obviously the United States, and they have been rather successful along their southern border at closing things over the last year. Yeah. Then we see, of course, the ICE enforcement, and people are leaving voluntarily as well. That's what the United States, their current mantra is, right? So we're seeing that. Canada, of course, must be an attractive place if you're trying to flee that, or other countries. I know people who live near the border, right? Like people in Havelock and people in Hemmingford. I have friends that are basically 5 minutes down the road from the border.
Yeah.
And if I go visit them, you get off the highway.
Yes.
The RCMP truck is sitting there.
Yes, exactly.
You see the helicopters
absolutely
up above. This is a major enforcement.
Their daily lives
Yeah.
in that area, these citizens, it changed completely in the last 5 years because now they have police pursuit in their backyards. They have the Black Hawk flying around all day long. So this is not a peaceful area or peaceful forest anymore. And even me, I did a manhunt with the police.
So tell us about that. We're with Étienne Fortin-Gauthier. He's from Noovo, and the latest episode of Entre les Lignes, it's available on Crave, is entitled La Frontière qui tue, or The Border That Kills. So you went with the RCMP on, what do you call it, on patrol?
Exactly. With snowshoes, because that's how they patrol near the border. There's a lot of snow, sometimes with snowmobiles, but sometimes with snowshoes. And we got a call from the U.S. because there's a good collaboration between the U.S. and Canada in terms of border patrolling. So we got a call from the U.S. They have thousands of cameras along the border, and they said that 2 guys tried to cross illegally. So the RCMP, they sent about a dozen officers, the drones, and the Black Hawk, and we went on patrol to try to find them, because we never know. Are these migrants who don't want to do any harm, or is it trying to cross arms illegally?
So here's the other thing, right? So we're talking about the human trafficking that happens, or smuggling.
Yeah.
There's also drug smuggling and firearms.
Absolutely. So the RCMP had to intervene. Canada and the U.S., you have the longest border that is not defended, but the RCMP is still there now to make it secure, and they have to check who's crossing illegally, what's their intention. And in this case, it was a smugglers and a migrant. Both of them were arrested. We did a manhunt for about an hour in the forest.
So you're on snowshoes?
Yeah, exactly.
You got a camera rolling.
It's intense,
and you're with the RCMP during that mission, that maneuver.
Exactly. We're running with them, trying to get these 2 people. And there's my camera guy and producer Alex Volpato. It's very intense for him to film and to run
on snowshoes.
It's very intense. But our goal is to show the danger of this area and what migrants are getting them into, because they are afraid, because they are suffering. So there's also a very big human component to our show.
And they need to sneak in because of that 2-week rule. They have to get in and then not be detected for 2 weeks, and then they're in the clear. I guess that's the difference from the Roxham Road situation.
Exactly, because at the time they were showing at the Roxham Road, they were welcomed, and then they could wait to get an answer. But the government changed that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, a lot of migrants groups, they say it was safer before. At least migrants didn't have to hide in the forest and expose them to these risks. So there's good and bad to every decision. But right now, that's what we're facing. A lot of people dying in our forest.
How do the people who live around there feel about what they have to see and go through?
I think it's a mixed emotions. Some of them are angry to see all this action around their house. Others have compassion. I talk to people offering coffees to some of these migrants because they have to help them. If they don't get help, they could die. So it's mixed feelings right now.
Interesting. Listen, Étienne, it's fascinating. I'll direct all of our listeners over to Crave.
Yes.
Right? Because that's where they can watch it. The 5th episode of the terrific series Entre les Lignes, which takes a look at what's happening at Canada's border. Thanks so much.
Thanks for welcoming me.
Étienne Fortin-Gauthier from Noovo there. When we return on the Elias Makos Show, In Transit takes a look at a trend which shows no sign of abating. The increase in SUVs in Quebec. You want to buy a car, chances are you want an SUV. We'll tackle that next.
Unmistakably Canadian.
It's the music that raised you.
The artists raising the bar.
Hi, this is Brian Adams.
Hey, my name's Brett Emmons. I'm from the Glorious Sons.
Hi, I'm Nelly Furtado.
Made in Canada. The station that champions Canadian music.
Loud, proud, and all yours.
No passports required. Just press play.
Tap into Made in Canada now on iHeartRadio.ca
Or the free iHeartRadio app.